All right, well, let's get started. Tips and tricks, part 2, week number 4. We'll cover a couple more useful iPhone features tonight, as well as answering some questions that we had. And Maria sent me some things like probably about a half hour before I was ready to leave. It was like a whole list. I'm like, oh man.
Today?
Yeah. So I hope she's online. I don't know if she's watching or not. But it's great content. It's great questions. I'm going to try to get to them. Actually, she's kind of populated the content if I did a spring course. So, but probably what I'll do is take some of them and put them into video format, kind of how-to tips and tricks thing, and that way over the winter breaks and all that stuff, people will have a chance to watch them and see that kind of content.
Give me an example of one of them.
Oh, shoot, I don't have my, let's see if I have my email. I don't want to spend too much time. I know I got to get into the content here for the sake of folks online. But see if she sent me something here.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, she sent me a lot. Like how to, for a laptop, how to tell if the battery's bad. A lot more technical things. How do you wipe and clean old Kindles or an iPad? Can you ever completely wipe them? How to look up your keychain on Apple. That's a great tip.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. How to turn off driving app. Oh, that's right. She wanted me to tell her how to do that from Focus. Okay. We could probably do that tonight. I'll see if I can bring that out tonight. And then syncing deleted emails. But yeah, she's sending me a bunch of good stuff. So anyway, probably try to cover that at a later date. Alrighty. Cool. Alright, so let's get into the first part tonight. I want to go through is how to use the Apple Spotlight search. This tool I've seen used, and I started using it a lot myself. I used to be one of those that, every time I would want to find something, I'd go into the actual app instead of using the search feature. So if I wanted to find a contact, I would go scroll, find my contacts list, look up the person, and go from there. If I wanted to find photos, same thing. If I wanted to find a place to go eat in the area we're at, I'd scroll and find the Maps app or find my Yelp app or something and go look up, coffee shops in blank area. Well, this tool is really helpful because it's already on your bar. It's already on the home page. You just need to use it. So it's called Spotlight, and really the only thing you need to do is tap the search button down at the bottom. Have you ever heard this before? Have you seen this?
No, I just talk to my phone and say.
There you go. You can talk to it too. Just say, "Hey Siri" or "Hey whoever," and it will do its thing for you. So what I'm doing here is, again, if you don't have that ability or you don't have that function turned on, what I usually do is I'll go down now to my search, and it will come up with some suggestions already based on the history that you've used already. So for example, if I wanted to look up refund, and the reason I would want to look up refund, let's say I had an email that came in, I'm waiting for a refund and I haven't seen it yet. Hey, welcome. There's a page right there and a survey and a check-in sheet.
Were the roads bad?
A little on the hill.
Yeah.
Went to Florida and stuff.
Oh, Florida, here we come, right? All right. We're just starting on the Spotlight app right now.
Okay.
So in this case here, what I did is I just typed in the word refund because I was looking for a specific document, email, that I needed to know what where it was. So it was an email, but it could have been anywhere on my phone. Anywhere on my phone. So instead of going into all the different emails I have set up, maybe it was a screenshot that I took and I saved for later, I can just type in the word refund. And what's going to happen is first thing it's going to do is going to give me the definition up top, what a refund is. I thought that was interesting. And as I scroll down, it's going to show me all the different areas, the Siri suggestions. It's going to show me the photos that have the word refund in it. All right, and it's going to show me suggested websites. And down towards the bottom, it's saying, here are some Outlook emails that have the word refund in it. And it just so happens the one I'm looking for is right here. So I can pull that up and see that it was part of my Apple refund that I was waiting for. And I can see it was, approved. All right. So it's, like I said, the spotlight right down there in the bottom. It's a quick shop for everything you need. Going next to that is photos. So if I kind of just come down here at the bottom, I can hit the X to clear the search, and I can type in photo. I don't even have to type the whole word. I can just type in the first couple letters of photo, and again, it's going to show me photos from apps, including text messages. So if I'm looking for a text message from my son or from work that had a photo embedded in it, it's going to show up here. Okay, so everything that I need. Obviously comes up with an app, comes up with the app of the day called Photo Math, which I think is interesting. It takes me to my settings for photos. It takes me again to my messages, any text messages, emails, and anything that maps. So everything's right there. So if I wanted to, I can, let's see, I'm going to pull up one of these. Let's see, I'm going to go into show more from my photos. And I'm going to bring up one of these emails here, or one of these photos here that already has some words in it. Actually, it has, it's got some apps. It's part of an app store thing I was looking at. So what I could even do is in the lower corner down here, it looks like a little target or a little, what you would call it. It's got like 3 lines and a box around it. That's your text feature, or your if you click on that, it's going to highlight all the text in that video or in that photo. So I can copy and paste that text out of there if I wanted to, or I could look it up. I could do anything I wanted with it. So specifically, I found, I go down here to say Outlook. I could hold my finger down on that, and I could select all that content and then copy it and copy it into another app if I wanted to, into my notepad, into an address book, or whatever. So, all right. Let's see, the other feature I have on here you can look up is just going right to your directory to your contacts. So again, not having to go to the contacts app or to the phone book app. I can just come right into the search menu, and I'm going to type in my last name here, and it comes up with the first contact that matches. Right from there, I can do a video call, a text message, or a phone call without even having to go any further. It's all right there. If I go into my name, it's going to bring up any shared links that I've sent to people. It's going to bring up my contact page that I could send to someone, my card. It's going to show me all the photos under my name, all the videos, all the mail I have, and again down here any related searches. So it's really nice one-stop shop for everything. You don't have to go into the separate applications themselves to find what you want. So I thought that tool was really cool, and it helped me. It's a matter of getting used to it when you're doing something the same way all the time, and now it's like you got this neat button and it does everything. It's like you got to force yourself. It's like you want to put tape around it and say, use me. You click here kind of thing. So I figured if I found it kind of useful, maybe some others would too. But it's not limited to what I have up here. I mean, you can type in locations, it'll bring up the map, it will do all that stuff for you. It's very, very integrated. Okay, the second thing I want to get into is how to manage your mobile applications. Have any of you done this before, like set up groups? Maybe,
Yes.
okay, how about pages? Have you created new pages and used widgets? Okay. Well, I know there are some people on the line, so I'm gonna kind of go through here. So how to manage your apps, your mobile apps, creating groups with your common apps. So one thing I like to do, anything that's a group for me of common apps, I like to keep right on my front page, like ready to go. So you know, things like creative type stuff, social media, entertainment, business apps, finance, fitness, utilities, games, all those things I like to have right at my ready. And I have them set up in such a position where they're going to be closer to my thumb on my right hand. It's just, you know, aesthetically and we would call it, you know, being right-handed, I guess. I just like to have that ability to go to any of my groups right away, so I'm not kind of fumbling around with it, right? So from there, if you've not done it before, it's kind of simple. You can hold your finger down anywhere on that page and starts the little jiggle wiggle of the apps. And like for my entertainment ones, you're just basically dragging them into the folder. Now, if there's not a folder created already, let's say for example, I'm going to take my text app. I'm going to drag that up here, and I'm going to take my FaceTime app and push it into the text app. Well, it's going to automatically create a new group. Okay, and in that group it calls itself productivity. Well, I don't know, texting and phone doesn't sound like productivity to me, so I'm going to change it. So I open it up, and I can go up here and hit the X and clear out that name. And I can call it something different. I'll call it communications. All right, and I'll say done, and I just renamed the group. All right, makes more sense. So now that that's clear, shrinks it back down, and I can just kind of tap anywhere again to stop them from wiggling, stop them from editing the home screen. So then with that, what you can do is you can create your groups, you can change the names, and you can also manipulate the groups to different pages. So if you're familiar with that, you have actually if you go all the way to the front, you have the stories page and the different screens there. But there's my first page, my second page, my third page, and my fourth, which I played with earlier. I was using it as a demonstration. But if I go back here, and again, I'm going to hold my finger down on that and start it kind of wiggling there. All right. Now from here, there's two buttons. You have a plus sign button, and you have these dots in the middle. Okay? So if I wanted to add more widgets to this page, all right, that's going to let me get to we're not going to get there just yet. What I want to do is I'm going to click this button right here, and it's going to show me all the pages that I've created. Now from this menu, I can, if I wanted to, switch these around. Oops. Where are you? So if I wanted some on the top or some on the bottom, I could do that, and then they're going to show up differently now on this page. Come down here. I can even hide them if I wanted to. So if this one specifically I didn't want anybody to see, it would just maybe had some work apps in there I didn't want people to see, but I know it's there, and I'm going to go turn it on when I need it. I can just click that button, and it goes in a little bit of a fade. So now if I get out of that, oops, now it's not there. So I'll go back here again, and turn it back on. And I could delete it too. I can hit the little arrow of the little, I don't think I have it on this one, but the little minus sign right there on the top indicates a delete. It's going to ask me if I want to delete it. And I can say, yep, remove it, because we're going to create a new one here soon. and it's gone. Okay. So, all right, so that's managing the pages. Now, if I want to add a new page, all right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold anywhere in the space there. Click down here in those three buttons, and then I'm going to, go back here. Actually, I got to go back here first. Oh, here you go. I have to hit the plus sign. Oh, come here. Oop, I deleted it. There we go. And I'm going to add some widgets to this, so I might want to add, some photos. And I'm going to pull that over into a different page. Keep holding it down until I get where I want to go. It's being funny. There we go. We'll just drag this one here. There we go. Oh my goodness. Come on. It does not want to play well. There we go. Wow, that was tough. All right, so now it's over there on that side. I can add additional widgets. Now, what's cool about this is that you have some top-level widgets, like different apps that are more pronounced. They got more features to them. So like your calendar, YouTube search, TikTok, those kind of things. If you scroll down further to the bottom, all these different apps have different styles of how you can add that specific widget to the background. So for example, if I wanted to see my contacts, there's different styles or layouts of how that's going to look. So you like have a small one, you have more of a larger contact block, and like a medium header type page. All right. If I go down to my fitness app, I can put different things on here and say, you know what, I want to see all my different steps. Put that at the top right there. Showing me my steps, my moves, calories, distance, all that stuff. So I have that right there. So anyway, you can customize the page to a specific application set, like healthcare or fitness, or something that has to do with TV and video. That's kind of like what I did here in a sense. I put some podcast stuff up here. I put my a Twitch live stream up here, pictures right here. So you can add a bunch of different things and just make it like that's your one-stop hub for whatever content you want to make out of that.
Is there a limit on the number of pages?
I don't think so. I never tried. I mean, technically things aren't limited much anymore. I mean, it used to be that USB devices, how many different cameras and plugs and things you can do. The limit used to be, I think, 12. Like if you daisy chained like 12 printers, you could do that. Now it's like 128 or 256. It's a crazy number. Like I literally could daisy chain 200 printers to a computer on USB. It's like, why? I don't know. I mean, I could be awfully slow. So yeah, something to play with. That's your homework assignment. Check back with us next year, next spring. I have 300 pages. Just keep going and going and going. All right. So that's those there. Again, you can't really break it. It's customized. So if you decide, hey, I don't want this page later, you can always delete it and use it somewhere else. All right, so we kind of came to the conclusion of a lot of the questions I answered from previous. I got your stuff late, so I was getting ready to get out the door. I'm like, oh boy, I'm like wrapping things up. It's like, well, that's content for spring. If I do one, I don't know, or I might just put some videos together on it so you can watch them like over the winter breaks and stuff. So the questions I did look at here was, so how to stop ads on YouTube and web browsers. So the YouTube one I thought was interesting. I did find an app that is called Luna. I did some searching around and I'm like, okay, what's the most invasive, like non-invasive ad block that's gonna not take up a lot of space or resources on the phone, and it's not gonna be a risk kind of thing. So I look at it this way. What I did is I actually put it out some of the key points of what they collect and what they don't collect. And it's just like any other app. I mean, if what the old adage is that, if you're not paying for the app or the product, you are the product, right? So it's just basically whatever's in your phone is the product. So anyway, the only thing that I did run through this, I tested it, I like it. I played a bunch of different videos on my phone. I have not installed it to my computer yet at home. That's my next step. But from what I can tell so far, I have not had one ad pop up yet. I don't know how it does it.
Can you do it on your TV?
I don't know. Smart TV, that's something totally different. Yeah, the smart TVs are usually pretty fixed as far as what you can and cannot do, because it's built into the actual operating system of the TV, and that's typically not, it's very limited, like to, point and click, install this app, and that's about it. But yeah, that would be very cool. I don't know, but I know that it does work on the phone. I know there's an Android app for it as well, and then it does work on the computer, Microsoft Windows. So I put the instructions on the document, and there is a video also that I would encourage you to watch as well, because it's when you go to the Luna app, you put in your year of birth. I just put a fictitious year of birth in there. You tell it that you're going to install the VPN profile. All right, so what that does, it's called a client-based VPN. It's kind of going outside the normal way that YouTube does things, which is okay. And somehow it figures out, hey, I'm going to block these ads. So I'm sure the folks that need the ad revenue are a little frustrated with that. But it does get kind of cumbersome now, where YouTube is forcing you to watch like the first ad and then the second ad, and like 3 seconds to the end you can finally click out of it. So they're getting a little aggressive now with their ads. I have personal feelings on that because one of it is that they collect like literally 60 to 80% of the revenue that content creators make goes right to YouTube. The content creator gets very little out of what they do. And I know that's been a big complaint, in the creator industry. So hopefully that changes. So until then, Google and YouTube just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, once you go through that, it'll ask you to, if you want to allow this configuration, and then once it's done, you hit the close button. So, and then there's a video that pops up, and I can try to play the video. It's a very short video. See if it will do it for me. That won't let me expand it. But I have a link to that. Well, the link's actually right there. So when you install it, it won't let me do it. There is no sound to it, by the way. It's just a step-by-step that takes you through the whole process. But going back to the collection of data, again, what I've read through wasn't too bad than anything else. It actually does tell you, remember we talked about this a couple classes ago, a good app will have a great rating, like several thousand downloads. It will have updates that's been done by the developer, and it will give you a good clear list of what they're doing with your data, which again, count the apps you have on your phone and then multiply that by how much data is possibly going out the door. So, but yeah, additionally too, if you say, hey, you know what, I'm not really cool with this, it's doing some weird things and it's blocking websites that I really want access to, you can uninstall it. All right, and there's how to uninstall it. Oh, no, don't need that right now. Oh, go back here. Now I'm back here. All right, so just kind of follow the same principle. You don't need the actual video or the installer to do this. You're just reversing what it's done automatically. So go to General, right down to VPN Device Management, and then it'll show there Adblock Luna, and then you're going to remove that, and then it's going to wipe out everything there for you.
That's kind of a lot of steps to uninstall an app. I just can, on my phone, I can just press on it, and if it's something I put on the
Right.
phone, I can say uninstall it.
So this is more than just an app. So it's embedding a root, not a rootkit, not a virus. It's embedding a root management tool into the operating system so that it knows how to get around the adware. All right. So there's the app piece, which you can uninstall, but basically it's installing another tool inside. It's embedding it inside the operating system.
So when you uninstall the app, it doesn't uninstall that? Uh-oh.
No, that is how you install it. So the app and everything leave your phone when you do this. So.
But if I uninstall it my way, it's not uninstalling it.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. You want to make sure you follow the directions because
Do you
basically.
think that'll be the same on Android as?
I don't know. No, probably not. Their menuing system's different, so I don't know. It would probably be whatever the developers lay out for that. But yeah, I would just definitely follow their steps to that because you don't want to leave something undone, and all of a sudden you start having problems with the phone, and then you're like, oh man, you know, how do I fix this? Apple Store, help me. You know, then they're going to charge you a lot of money.
So this even blocked your ads on your web browser, like?
On Safari, I believe it, yes, it has. A couple of them it has. If I used YouTube through Safari, yes. And if I used YouTube app, yes, it did both. Yeah, I was impressed with that. That was nice. So now watch, I'll go home and have like 100 ads going on or something like that. But no, it worked really well. I was quite impressed with it. I think I missed something here. I just want to make sure I covered. I thought I put it in here, and I guess I didn't. No, I did. Hold on, maybe it's forward here. I remember. That's one of those afternoons, you know, when you work on something and you got it ready to go. Apparently I forgot to insert it into the slide deck. So, and that was back with managing apps. Oh darn it. There was two things I wanted to show you, and that was removing apps. Sure I didn't put that in here? It didn't update it, is what it didn't do. Because I remember making the slides, I really do. Oh goodness. All right, well they're not here. So there's two ways to, and I don't think they're on the paper here either. So if I wanted to save space on my app, on my phone. So I remember doing this research too. So when you have apps out there and they're unused for a period of time, all right, you can offload those apps, all right. Apple will, after I believe the consistent answer I found was 12 days. If an app is unused for 12 days, which seems kind of short, it will offload it. Now it does not offload any data or any personal information you put into that app. It keeps that behind. So if I'm using, you know, I'll give you an example, a really good one, MyFitnessPal. I was real good for a while. Downloaded the app, you know, counting everything I'm supposed to be eating for the day, putting it in, and that was great for a month. And then a month went by that I wasn't using it. And I got a message from my provider, my doctor, hey, can you, when you get a minute, send me some of the upload for all your stuff. I'm like, okay. So I noticed that the app was offloaded. because it was kind of like you don't see it anymore. But if you go into the App Store, it shows a little arrow like it used to be there. So I downloaded it again, and everything popped back up. So I responded, yeah, I have the first month I can send you. Well, that's good. Show me what you got. So I did. Anyway, all I have to say, restored the app. All the data was still on the phone. It never left the phone. All right. So the way we do that, and it really bothers me. I swore I put that in here. You can go into your settings. All right, down to, let me find it here. Down to general, and then down to app storage. I'm sorry, iPhone storage. So settings, general, iPhone storage. And then what I like about this is it's got, it tells you all the apps on your phone. It tells you the last time you used it, and it tells you how much storage it's taking up. So, give you a case right here. I installed a game. What I was doing some testing for. Actually, I was doing it for like purpose of, okay, how can I download this? And there were some weird things I was doing with it. Anyway, it was a game called Call of Duty, and my son was like, Dad, why do you have Call of Duty on your phone? You don't play that game, do you? It's like, no, I'm just using it for a test. Anyway, that test game I got on here is 4.16 gigabytes of data. And the last time I used it was 10/19/22. I don't think I need this game anymore. I didn't pay anything for it. It's a free thing until you decide to, again, plug more money into it because you got to a spot you can't go past. So I'm going to just tap that. And so the app size itself is 2.79 gig. The documents and data that are stored with it, and again, I played this thing for 15 minutes on a Saturday afternoon, got bored with it. That was it. And now it's sitting at a total of 4.1 gigabytes of storage. It's crazy. So I can offload this myself. It's still sitting on my phone. So if I said offload, it will remove the game itself, the app, which is 2.79 gigabytes, but it will leave the 1.37 gigabytes of storage data, of game data. And that's like, you know, your progress in the game, things you changed, or, you know, updates you did to your character, those kind of things. I need none of that. All right, so I'm gonna say delete the app. And when I say delete the app, it's going to say, hey, you're deleting Call of Duty will also delete all of its documents and data. This action cannot be undone. I'm okay with that. And delete. And I just freed up 4 gigabytes on my phone, which is a ton of storage when you're talking, you know, phone or pictures, videos, additional apps like that. So anyway, this little bar up here is really neat. It tells you how much storage you have, how much you've used out of your total max capacity. So it's saying I've used 24 gig out of 64 that I have on the phone, which isn't bad. But one thing that caught my eye, and you got to be careful of this, say, well, you know, what's this iOS 16 1.1? Can I remove that? It's taking 1.8 gigabytes of my storage. No. That is a pending update. That just hit me today earlier. I got an update. So I should probably install it tonight when I get home. But if I deleted it right now, it would know, hey, you're not supposed to do that, and it would re-download it for me. So let's see, other ones, GarageBand, Photos, Minecraft, Outlook, OneDrive, Cash App, those kind of things. So anyway, there's a ton of stuff on there. I'd say most of it I'm probably using, but if I want to offload it, I could. The other thing I can do is back in settings, I can go down to the App Store selection, and I can tell it in the App Store that I want to turn on offload unused apps. So automatically, within a certain period of time, it's going to say, well, you know what, it's funny, I just noticed Call of Duty is long past 12 days and it was still sitting on there. And I haven't used the app, right? I'm thinking, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what the time frame is. all the information I saw online was like between 12 and 15 days. Who knows? But anyway, offload unused apps, and they don't tell you in the description either. They don't tell you on the phone. It just says automatically remove unused apps, but keep all documents and data. Reinstalling the app will place back your data if the app is still available on the App Store. So.
What about, this always kills me. I'll go to, I'm like, I never use this, I don't even know what this is. And I try to uninstall it, and then I get a message that says something like, well, if you uninstall this, you might screw up.
Yeah.
And so then I don't do it because I don't want to screw up something.
Yeah, and again, it depends on the app. Are you talking about your laptop or your phone?
The phone.
The phone? Yeah, it depends on what it is. I've seen those messages, and usually if I'm initiating the removal, then I'm okay with whatever comes with it or goes with it. I can't think of any examples offhand, but I know that I've done it. I know I've approved it to be done, and I've never seen any issues with it. Typically, it could be if something's connected to like the microphone or the camera or something like that. Removing this is going to wipe out your ability to do that. So, yeah.
What's different about the laptop? I mean,
so laptops, PCs in general, may have what they call dependency applications. So there's a lot of gaming community software, Adobe products per se that you use for different creative work have dependencies. Like you can't remove one thing without removing the other. There's like a main app, and that main app drives everything else. There's a gaming platform called Steam. My son uses that, I use it. So you can't just, you have to do things inside the app. So if you try to delete it outside, it breaks all those extra connections, and then you can't find your software. So trying to think of another example. Would be like some Zoom type stuff, things you're doing for video chats, those kind of things. Those can be dependent on other sources, other apps that are installed. So yeah, sometimes there is a dependency. I would say if you're doing that and it comes up, you may want to go online to the website that you downloaded it from and see if there's any tech support on there that says, hey, if this comes up, this is what you do. That usually is pretty helpful. Because typically, just that search term, whatever you're encountering, there's probably you and thousands of other people that had the same issue, and you're going to find it. I mean, they're pretty common. So anyway, I think that helps. All right. All right. Let's see. The last thing I had on for tonight was the website stuff that I was able to look at. Again, I'm not a website builder. I used to do some stuff years ago, but not as much. What I found in a couple different sources are the top 10. Wix is a popular one right now. There's GoDaddy, there's Weebly. I've not really heard of any of these per se, but it gave you a good idea of what it's ideal for. Like this one here is ideal for beginners. Some of these, I don't know, like for example, like what the costs are involved. Sometimes you can get a free app product and it has very minimal features to it. And obviously the more you pay in the plan, there's more features that it opens up for you. I don't know, it depends on what you're using it for. Am I wanting to create a storefront for a business, just an information page, just a business page that points somebody to something else on my website? It's a lot of different things they could be used for. But anyway, I figured I'd at least get some links so you had a good starting point.
Have you ever heard of I hear a lot
WordPress.
about WordPress.
Yeah, I use WordPress now for some basic things I have. Again, I can't, honestly, what I use WordPress for at the moment is my domain names. So yourtechnologycoach.com. I have a couple other domain names that are forwarded to my YouTube channel and a couple other places because it's easier to remember yourtechnologycoach.com than it is youtube.com/channel/xy124, you know, that kind of stuff. So.
I asked this question because, thank goodness I'm not anymore, but I was on our homeowners association board, and we have a website. We still have a website. And I knew nothing about websites or using them, but I had to figure it out.
Oh, fun. Those are fun times.
And
so you
we
inherited
paid
a
for it.
nightmare.
This wasn't free. I mean, we were charged actually an annual fee by GoDaddy and then a monthly fee by Vistaprint. And let me tell you, Vistaprint is not user friendly.
Really? Yeah.
And the way it was told me, Vistaprint is for your website and GoDaddy is so that you pay that yearly fee so that when somebody types in Brookfield Heights, they get to you quicker than not. Is that all true?
It is. It is to a point. So GoDaddy is can be your. So there's the host, the domain host, and then there's the content provider or the content host. So normally they're all in one. All right. So I can use Wix, for example, to be my domain name provider as well as my content provider. So I can do everything on one platform. There are some, which sounds like the case. Now I know Vistaprint years ago was for like, you know, printing like business cards.
Yeah, you can do all of that too.
So now you're doing business, you know, website design. So to me it sounds like they're using one place for their domain registration, the other for their content. So what happens is the domain is pointed to wherever that content's created, it's going to serve that content to the world. So however that's connected in the back end is whoever set it up has done that. So it sounds like Vistaprint doesn't have domain capability. It doesn't have a way to say, you know, whatever.com. It's relying on GoDaddy for that. So yeah, and that makes it difficult because you're having to manage two separate accounts. You have the domain account that has the public side of things that if that breaks, nobody's going to get over here to Vistaprint. So that's the dependency you have. Whereas everything on one site, you have typically, I know with WordPress, you have the backup capability. So I keep all my content on the same place I host my domain. So if something happens on their end, they have redundancy that will keep things up and running. So there's no disconnect or break in that service. But yeah. Yeah, I would be interested to know what, or it might be interesting to find out if there's a package on one or the other that includes the domain hosting as well. Then you get into a whole other mess of things because if you change providers for your hosting, there's a time delay of when you get, oh wow, it gets into a lot of different things that on the internet side of things with what they call MX records and DNS functions that you have to make sure it's consistent when it happens, and typically an IT person gets involved, or else there'll be a time when the HOA site is down for up to 24 or 48 hours before the new domain picks it up and knows to the world, hey, I'm now at this address, I'm no longer at that address. So, yeah. Sounds like you're kind of stuck.
Well, I'm out of it.
Yeah, okay, good.
I'm out of it now.
Wash
I'm
my
out of
hands
it
of
now
this thing.
anyway,
Goodbye.
but
Right.
it was a learning experience, that's for sure. I was a treasurer though, and I'm like, do we have to pay for this and this?
Yeah, it probably sounded like somebody got a deal at the time and said, hey, you know, my brother's teenage son can do this kind of thing. I don't know. And said, hey,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Did they leave a document trail of here's how kind of thing? I mean, you're out of it now, but I mean.
Oh, no. I actually paid an IT person to
Really?
help me figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually paid somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't mind because I like to learn new things.
Sure, yeah,
But
right.
Vistaprint, I just had figured it out. And then they changed
everything.
everything. And then it's like you call tech support, and if you can understand the
Right,
person that's
right.
trying to help you, that was a mess.
It
was
becomes
a mess.
a
So
whole-
luckily I found somebody who could guide me
Right.
through it. But I'm out of it now. And now
Okay.
it looks like they have somebody with IT experience that
Oh,
is
good.
managing it, which is good. But I didn't
Yeah.
have that at the time.
Wasn't you. Help. All
But I
right.
got the content up, you know,
Right,
I got
right.
it up and.
Yeah, and that's the big part. I mean, once the techie side is set up, a lot of the websites now are just drag and drop. They have, you know, you can bring up a template, you fill this in for your header, this for your subheading, what font do I want, what pictures do I want, how many pages do I want, what are they gonna be, you know, what am I trying to tell? You know, what's the story my website's supposed to be doing? You know, is it informational? Here's, you know, how to get to the pool. Here's the key. Here's, you know, the map of the facility. You know, those kind of things. Here's how to contact us. You know, if you have a problem and need maintenance, click here. You know, and it does all that fun stuff behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
We were we had a Gmail account, so we had a
Mhm.
Google Drive, and we had documents in Google Drive, so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had to learn how to connect those
Right.
things.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, that in itself is a challenge, because you got all the other treasure stuff going on in your head. Now you have to figure out this part of it, and yeah, and everybody looks at you like, well, you should know how to do that. Well, no, I'm just the money person.
No, it was kind of, I had a person who said, oh, I like doing this, I'll do it, and
Right.
didn't do it, and it had to
Yeah.
get done, so.
Yeah, overcommitted, underachieved. I love it, right? Gotta love it. All the fire and passion in the beginning, and it's like, no, I'm kind of done with this. All right, that is what I have tonight. What else? Kind of burning questions that we could try to cover, or?
You're the one that had a lot of them, go for it.
Yeah, I was looking at them earlier, I don't have.
I had one question that came up after, when you were showing how to see pictures and stuff, like in your text messages.
Mhm.
Is there a way to download all of those to your computer
There is.
rather than individually going through your text messages and trying to save them?
Let me think here. So, let's see how that works. It's a great question. So, for the folks online, the question is, for all the text messages I have that have the photos embedded in them, is there an easy way to pull those off and save them somewhere else? Great question. I don't have, let's see what I have on here. Oh, there we go. I can't broadcast this, but let's see. I'm just gonna pull up. All right, so I'm looking at my son's stuff because he sends me some stuff that's just weird. So if I go in here and I'm gonna see all. Oh, well, actually there is. Okay, I'm gonna go to photos. I'm just kind of try something on the fly here. Save. Let's see where they put those. Actually did it real quick. So yes, there is. Shoot, I wish I could show this somehow. So what you do, so I'm gonna go into my text messages. All right, now again, You have to do it, so I have like a ton of people on here that have, not all of them have sent me things. So I picked, let's see, I'm going to pick some of the most in here. Okay, so I picked my neighbor, because he sends me stuff occasionally. And when it comes up, it's got their name. Oh, let me go back here one more. So it's got the context, like this is the last stuff, messages and stuff we've had. At the top, where his name is, it's right below it, this little arrow. If I click on that, it goes into the details of that person. All right? If I come down here to the photos, and I click on see all. So here's all the stuff that we've sent back and forth. It's kind of comical, actually. All safe, too. So what I can do here, I can go into, there's a select button up here. So if I hit the select button, oh, come here, it now activates my ability to select these. Now I can click on one at a time. It puts a little checkbox next to it, and I'll turn that off. Or I can slide my finger across. Well, I gotta click one first, and then slide my finger. Oh, it's not gonna do it on this one. It does it on the actual photo area. Mm-hmm. So I gotta click all those. Okay, now I got 6 checkboxes on those. All right. Now at the bottom here, there's a save button. All right, I'm gonna save that. Now if I go over into my photos, wait for it to refresh. Yep, there they are. So they're now in my photos, which is syncing up with my iCloud. So now they're here, and they are on the iCloud.
Okay.
Right away. I mean, if you have iCloud account and you have the storage, then they're there. So I can technically pull them up on my computer right now too.
So you would have to probably do them individually by contact?
Yeah, and I think, I'm not sure if there's a reason for that. I mean, I'm sure it could be for security. You want, you don't want all your pictures grouped together, then you wouldn't know who they're from, right? I don't know of a one-stop shop for all of that on the actual phone itself. So yeah, you have to go. Now what you can do also is if I go back into where my storage was, I go back to my settings. I'm going to go down to general iPhone storage. I haven't tried this. If I scroll down to messages right here, there's 109 megabytes of storage there, and it breaks it down. It says I've got 25 megabytes in photos, 67 megabytes in videos, and 9.4 in GIFs and stickers. So I'm going to go to the photos right here. Oh wow, there they are, all of them. But let's see here. I don't know if it gives me the option to remove them, because I can hit this edit button up here. Yeah, it won't. I can only delete them, because now I can select every one of them, but that's only for the purpose of deleting it. Yeah, I couldn't save them, which would be really cool. I can swipe them, but that's only to delete them as well. So, or I can click on every one of them and then save it. That's yucky. That's yucky. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I know there are some cool gadgets. I have wanted to get one. I may actually order one from Amazon just to try it and see if it works and do a video on it. But it's a device you plug into your phone, and it will scour your phone for videos and images, and comes up with a little app. You tell it where you want it to pick from, and it will pull everything off your phone onto a flash drive into computer, done.
Wow.
So Oh,
Yeah.
now I really want that now.
You have to share that one if you do get it.
Yeah, I really want that now. I talked myself into it.
Just because there's so many pictures that people send anymore.
There are. I mean, we're just
In
picture
groups, too.
crazy. Oh my word. I hate the group ones. You know how you're aware of how to like mute the group, like you can exit the group and that stuff. Yeah. Sorry to anybody online that's heard this, and sorry I muted you on my group. But we'll get these, chats going, especially like when the kids are doing sports and stuff, and you're in the parent program, and it's like 24/7. It's like, go to sleep, people. It's 10 o'clock. Why are you texting us now about uniforms? Stop.
And somebody works third shift
Mute.
and that's their day, and yeah.
Right. It's like, mute. You're done. So, yeah. All right, did I answer it?
You did.
Okay,
Good.
great. Yeah, I really want that device now.
Me too.
But anyway, that's the quickest way to get it. So if you have, the neat thing about that is if you have your photos, your cloud turned on to automatically upload, as soon as anything gets into that folder that you pulled off of the messages, it will upload. So just going backwards in that, your iCloud photos will not upload anything that's not specifically in the photo app. So like it won't automatically reach out to your text messages and put those things and upload them. So those stay on the phone until we do that process to save them into the photo app. What else?
Well, I was just wondering, I have a friend who has an iPhone, and I've emailed her pictures from my computer, and she always gets them, but recently she can't open
Oh, wow.
like a set that I sent her. Do you have any idea why that would be?
Without seeing the phone and something's maybe changed.
And I sent her something later that she could open, but not this
Really?
certain set. And I even tried resending it to her, and she still couldn't
Were
open
you
it.
setting it in groups, and like a group of pictures at the same time, or just individually?
I email, I don't
Oh,
text it,
okay.
so I was
Yeah.
emailing them, and I only send like 2 at a time.
Really?
I
Okay.
don't send a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were of her daughter, at an event that she couldn't be at. And
So are you sending it to a personal account email?
To her
or,
email.
Or a work email?
No, her personal.
Okay, because I know the reason I ask is that there's like hospitals and other corporations
Right,
have
yeah, no, it
filters
was
in
her
place
personal.
that block some of that stuff, so
It was of her-
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what, you know what, and weird things happen with upgrades. I'll tell you a case that we ran into, and it resolved itself, but it took it over a month to do so, and no one could figure out why. When I upgraded from iOS 15 to 16, my dictation stopped working, the sound was off, my screen, like I was doing, like as I was scrolling, it was jittering really bad. I did the normal things. I powered it off, left it off for a while, turned it back on, recharged it, went back, made sure the upgrade happened, and it took all that stuff. I go in, try to dictate, nothing. And then it just decided to fix itself. I don't.
After a month though?
About a
did you
month.
say?
It was a couple weeks. It was several weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got tired of it, and I got to, because I'm fat thumb and everything, and my kids are laughing at me, and like, they're over there on the couch. It's like, right, okay. I used to be able to do that. Now it's like crack, crack, ow, crack, ow, crack, ow, crack. It's like, oh, but yeah, so I'd say in the last week it started working again. I'm like,
I just
okay.
told her to give me a flash drive, and I'd put them on the flash
Yeah.
drive for her.
Yeah. What you can also do too, if she has an Apple account, you can share you can create a shared folder. We do that for when we go on vacation.
But I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was gonna say.
I don't have an iPhone.
But she does. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be. Because I have run into that occasionally when my daughter, she has an Android. She sent me stuff, I've gotten it, but it was low quality. Like the resolution was very small, very grainy, with videos usually. But that's interesting. Yeah, you would think it's a standard format, it should come across normally. So yeah, I don't know why it would do that. Just Apple and Android don't play well together.
Yeah, but this is not from my
It's
Android
email-
phone.
it's still
This is
email,
from
though. It's
my
still-
laptop. This
Oh, it's
is
from the
from
laptop.
Yeah, it's from my computer.
It
It's
shouldn't
it's
be.
real pictures
Yeah.
from a DSLR camera
Yeah,
that I have
right.
on my computer.
That shouldn't make any difference. And I'm sure, going back to the upgrade, I'm sure maybe something's changed. You know, either one side or the
But
other.
the interesting thing is I sent her something like a week later and she could open it.
Yeah,
Just not those photos, for whatever
Yeah.
reason. But her mother could, and her mother
don't
has
you
an
love it? There's
iPhone.
no rhyme or reason to why.
Mhm.
Can't answer that one. All right. Well,
Do you have anything else?
I know you had a question about the battery thing.
Oh, if the battery is bad, can you just use the plug or will the battery overheat?
So are we talking about a phone?
Laptop.
Laptop. So, okay. It will depend on the battery. I mean, kind of, okay, circle out. If the battery is bad, can you use the plug? Okay, so it depends on the laptop. We've had cases at the hospital with some of the old Dells, that when, when the battery was going bad, it would expand and it would actually bow the keyboard on the laptop. You could physically see a bubble pushing out of the keyboard. So at that point, I would recommend I would see, get the battery replaced. The problem is, if you're not able to disconnect the batteries, now some you can just flip it over, pull the little connector out and flip the battery out, and you're okay. Use it as a desktop. You know,
Mhm.
plug it in,
Right.
and that's fine. The fact that you still have electrons flowing through that battery, even though it's plugged in, that's going to continue to fester the problem. And I have seen those actually melt the case and catch on fire. So, yeah.
It's
Samsung.
warmer.
What's that?
I think it's been warm, like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's going bad.
Yeah, I know there's some laptops that, you know, folks will use like while they're in bed, sitting there doing something, and they will heat up a lot of your laptops for whatever reason. The way the air intake comes in and goes out, it doesn't make it will come up through the bottom and out, or through the sides and out. So if you're blocking the fan on the bottom, if you've got it, it's not really a laptop, right? But if you've got it on a pillow or something, that heat isn't getting out and staying on that one place, and it's gonna heat up really bad. So,
I have a little fan.
oh, the laptop fans underneath them? Yeah, those are great. Those work well. Those actually, and it's probably why you have your laptop so long, because thermal, resistance, heat, those kind of things are the enemy of electronics. Especially if you're using it on and off a lot. It's almost better to keep it plugged in and on a lot of times than it is to constantly shut it down, because that heating and cooling is expanding and contracting the motherboard, which is going to break the pins and stuff in there that are soldered together. But yeah, those are very nice to use. I've recommended them. Again, I think that's why your laptop's been around a while, 10+ years. That's good carekeeping right there. Yeah, and also keep the dust out of it too. Blow the dust out and that kind of stuff.
I don't know that I can get another battery for it. The last time I had to get a battery, it was really hard to find one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
I don't know if it'll run without the battery in it. And
is the
just-
battery removable?
Uh-huh.
It is removable. Could try it. Just flip it over and the little tabs that come off and pop it out. And see if it works. And is that the same battery you've had for that
Oh,
long?
no, I've replaced it. I think I'm
like,
on
wait a
my
minute.
third battery.
You're right, okay.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
I'm on my third battery.
That's like driving a manual transmission 300,000 miles on the same clutch. Which actually was funny is that when my wife and I got married 22 years ago, she brought a Saturn SL2.
I had one of those.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
that's
Stick shift?
yes, and believe it or not, all right.
Oh, I love
she
that
taught
car.
me how to drive stick in that car because I've never driven stick, and it had like 210, 200 and some thousand miles on it, and she can't remember ever replacing the clutch on it. It was just a machine. It just worked really well, and I drove that thing back and forth there for a while. I was driving it back and forth to Philly. And if you know anything about Philadelphia traffic, no, not the place for stick shift. No, especially a newbie driving stick shift in Philly on the Schuylkill Expressway. No, not good. So anyway, yeah, but that's great. That's good to hear. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I mean, feel free to keep emailing me stuff if you think of it. I've got a good list you sent me, so I can actually take that list and respond to it. Separately. Let's see, some of these here. That one about people's Facebooks getting hacked, that's a great one. I think a lot of it is more that you're not getting hacked as much as they're getting duplicate accounts. Mm-hmm. People are setting up spoof accounts. I always say, recommend at least every so many months, go in and run there's a security check program that you can go through Facebook, and it will walk you through. It's one of the few things I like about Facebook, like what you're exposing to the world. So you can say, mine is only set up for friends. So that's it. I don't do friends of friends, mm-hmm. and I don't do anything of friends of friends of friends or anything else. I keep it tight because I don't need that. I'm not a corporation. I'm not looking for a presence on the web for Facebook, and I use it just for basic communication with family and some friends. But definitely also falls into the whole change your password. Change your password. Facebook is a huge target for data leaks, and it happens more than we know, and it happens more than others want to confess. The dark web is a big place. There's a lot of data on the dark web, and there's a lot of countries mining data for the purpose of reselling it for whatever purposes. That's one of the reasons I say too, I don't like the whole thing going around now is, what's your, what car did you have as a kid? What color was it? Here's my data. Why not? And then those are scams. Those are scams. That data is collected. Whether or not it's intentional or not, it's being stored on Facebook. Facebook is vulnerable. Now, what's your security password? What's your security questions for your bank? What are some of them? If you think about, what some of those options are, and you think about the questions that are being asked on those little trivia things, what was your teacher in 8th grade? What was your favorite vacation place? What was your, mother's maiden name? All those things.
Mm-hmm. Well, they asked you that on Facebook,
yes.
So then if that gets hacked, right. Then they
absolutely
get into your... I'm not on Facebook.
Because now they can match that data with your name, and it doesn't take long for those two to intertwine, and then you're getting a call from the bank.